Alrighty. Well, if you guys have ever been to any of our other webinars, you know we kind of start off with a little bit of an introduction from our speakers. We kind of jump into the topics that we're discussing. And then we kind of discuss to the state of technology right now. Obviously, COVID-19, how that's changed some things and the remote workforce. And then we kind of do an open-ended discussion between the panelists regarding questions. So let me just double check this chat here, make sure my, yes, my video is off. Let's turn that up. You guys see me now?
There you go.
Oh, there you are.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right. So we'll get started off with introducing Next IT. So John, I'll let you kind of go into that.
Good morning. Yes, John from Next IT. I work out of our Traverse City office. Next month, coming up on my 5th year anniversary. And besides Traverse City, we maintain all of Michigan and beyond, from Muskegon and Kalamazoo offices, where we have our network operations center and on-site technicians in each location. I'm going to kick off today with a strange fact about myself, right? I got a degree in electrical engineering, and I've been working in the computer industry pretty much my entire career. But the strange fact is, when I graduated from high school, there was not a computer in the entire school system.
So that's how fast that transitioned.
Exactly. I've been to the Smithsonian Museum and seen the entire exhibit on the history of computers, and it's within my lifetime.
Oh gosh.
Nice. Cool. You know, and then go this, and then PAX 8. I'll have you guys introduce yourself, and then maybe you guys can say a little fun fact about yourself.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, my name is Blair Halverson. I think I was one of the initial ones that spoke with Next IT. I'm actually their channel account manager over here, but happy to be here. Just a little bit on PAX 8, just in a nutshell. We're here pretty much as a cloud distributor. We're here to make sure that things are able to be provisioned correctly. We're here to make sure that the support is there and to help our partners, Next IT, make sure they got some good game plans, make sure they got some good strategies moving forward into this market as well. As you all know, everything changes on a dime. So we're here to help with them as well, just to make sure that we're all keeping our ear to the ground, so to speak. A quick fact about myself, weird fact, I should say. I can't follow necessarily that computer one very well, but I will say just relevant news. I used to live in North Dakota, and I remember way back in the day when I was a wee child, I was playing Nintendo 64, and my mother was absolutely panicked about something, and I just didn't fully realize it. But I do remember outside the fencing was shaking pretty bad, and as she picked me up and we were running out the house, I remember watching a tornado actually come towards our house and go up, not even a few blocks away from us. That was a very freaky moment, and major shout outs to obviously everybody going through any sort of weather effects right now. That stuff is spooky stuff. So that is my weird fact. Dodged a tornado, I guess.
Hey, okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know that I have any cool facts about myself that are as cool as your guys's. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys rocked it with your stories, but in my short span of years of life, I think technology's been a huge part of it, if not the whole entire time. I do, however, remember dial-up, and that was a big portion of my life, and that was
that noise.
The noise. That was awful when you had to make a phone call or anything, but
I was going to say, and then I also have with me, real quick, I also have Josh Rodriguez. Josh, actually, if you don't mind introducing yourself as well.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead, Josh.
I am the productivity solutions consultant over here at PAX 8. I'm on Blair's team. Basically, my main goal over here is to help partners understand Microsoft, make more money with Microsoft, help you guys learn. I guess a weird fact for me, in my off time, I like to design and build furniture. I've sold some pieces. I've had some of my stuff in some people's houses before. So that's kind of like one of my weird facts, I guess.
I may be hitting you up shortly.
Yeah. I just moved, so I'm gonna need some furniture here soon.
Alrighty, let me know.
All right, awesome. Well, cool. I mean, thanks for joining us, everyone. And we'll get into it a little bit here, but kind of want to touch on, and which we've touched on in our other monthly webinar presentations, which you can find on our YouTube channel. But we kind of start to talk about, the state of technology, especially after 2020. So obviously the whole remote workforce thing really took off in 2020 when everyone was forced to work at home essentially. And that brought a lot of technology challenges, especially with cybersecurity, with keeping your remote workforce safe, with storing data, the cloud, everything like that, and teaching the remote workforce how to access the cloud and to work within it. And this webinar, we kind of wanted to touch on some different pros and cons of the cloud, and how those people are viewing those cons and how we can kind of turn that around, as well as discussing some of these common challenges that people are facing and some of these questions that people have with the cloud, and kind of having an open-ended discussion. So how it'll work is I'll go into each question and then I'll bounce it off of you guys and we'll discuss, and then we'll move on to the next one. So
Cool.
Go to the first. This is the common question that you guys get for people who are kind of running into problems with the cloud, but are you running multiple applications like email, video, chat to communicate with your remote employees with the cloud? I'm going to kind of jump in with John first, I think. Otherwise, we can kind of hop around here. But John, I'll let you kind of start off with this one.
Yeah, I ran into this example with one of our existing clients. They've got their email with online exchange, but they're using Zoom for video. They've got a RingCentral voice over IP connection and Slack for chat. And their manager's like, it's tough for my employees to bounce between each of these. And we implemented a Microsoft Teams solution for these guys, which encompasses all of these solutions into one package and one application. We're using it here internally at Next IT, and that is the main reason we've got Pax8 with us here on this call. Pax8 is our partner and our experts in the Microsoft team and cloud environment. And we get to use these great resources like Josh and Blair to, create that perfect solution for the client and handle all of their needs, whether it's on-site in the office, remote, both, and a combination of those. Ever since we've launched Teams back in beginning of 2020, decided to move our total environment. It's much easier for me to just plug in the office in the morning, go out to a client site, bring it up remotely, either through their Wi-Fi or another remote connection at home. And then all of my information there in Microsoft Teams in the cloud is available all the time and secure.
Cool. Well, Josh and Blair, how can you guys bounce off that?
Yeah, no, I actually got a real life story on how I can bounce off this. Not even a few weeks ago. So Pax8 is located here in Denver, Colorado, and I would even say we're a born in the cloud company. We've always been, very interested in cloud solutions in general. However, since obviously partnering with Microsoft, I think it was 4, maybe 5 years ago or something like that, we've completely adopted our entire workspace to solely be around the Microsoft central ecosystem. So with this live story that I'm about to share, we used to do that very same thing, John, where we would be using multiple different platforms and it would just have to cross stream, and some of them just really did not communicate well together. Since actually adopting Microsoft Teams and actually just the Microsoft foundations of the applications of the 365 environment, we've been able to fully optimize SharePoint to be able to store all of our data in a public environment for everybody to access. We've been able to use obviously Teams as an immediate cross back and forth communication platform, as well as obviously, whenever I'm speaking to my partners, Next IT in this case, we're able to literally just pop open a quick Teams message. It loops right into Outlook, and now we're looking at each other face to face. This real life scenario, however, on 365 with Teams as well, I was actually out camping. I had service. I could access my entire organization from the network connection that I had out in the woods. everything was at my fingertips. I could immediately do my job from start to finish. I still worked that day, but I was 100% remote. Now, I'm not encouraging true remote work from the woods, because it's not guaranteed if you have service out there. But real life example, you really can bring your entire workplace just in your pocket from one central hub that way.
Cool. Yeah, you're supposed to relax on your
What do you want from me? I work pre-sales. I help my partners. I got to be available. Phone's always on.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, I've seen the transition to Teams over the last year, especially because of COVID. Microsoft had made the huge movement to make everyone jump into Teams basically as soon as COVID had hit. So, we're constantly seeing people using RingCentral and all these other, other apps to basically just share out their screen. And we've seen, it's a lot easier for everyone to be sharing out on one device on Teams. You can use all your SharePoint. You can have everything cross-central. Just seeing it a lot easier for everyone to just manage all of their work on one spot, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the access to documents is
Exactly.
Insanity too. I mean, you just go up to the Teams search bar and just be like, hey, I remember somebody sent me a PDF a while ago. Just quickly type in, a quick name to it and it just pops up immediately. So it is pretty quick.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Thanks for your input on that. We'll kind of roll into our next question. They commonly get is, are your network shared files difficult for employees to access when away from the office? You kind of touched on that just now, Blair.
Sorry.
Literally in the woods, accessing those files. I don't know, John, if you have another story to kind of bounce off that too. Otherwise, we can move on to the next question. But obviously, Blair kind of went into how easy that access was.
Yeah, no, that's just a little bit of a training issue, right? Talking about my weird fact, I've been in the industry so long. I'm so used to storing information on a physical drive that I know where it sits and where it sees. And now with the Teams environment, they just say, would you like to share it to the shared drive and SharePoint? Absolutely. Because now all of my team members that I continually collaborate with can just pull that file and I don't have to remember, did I put it on the server drive or is it sitting on my laptop drive? And do I have to send it out? And, is my email encrypted? Do I have personal information in there? Am I worried about that? If it's all in the Teams environment, it's secure within our environment. And you no longer have to worry about that, making my job a lot easier.
Sweet. Cool. I will move. I'll kind of, since we already kind of answered that, and we'll kind of roll on to the next question. So, do you have employees transferring files to their personal home computer to work on when they're remote? Obviously, that was probably initially when the whole remote workforce thing started to happen back in March. I assume that there was quite the learning curve there during that period when transitioning over to the cloud for employees.
We saw a lot of clients when the lockdown came down, still had those large kind of mini desk towers in their office and didn't have an efficient way to get people working at home right away. With the laptop, sure, you unplug. We quickly installed hundreds of VPN clients for clients all across Michigan to make sure that connection was secure. Some people just said, well, I can just log in from my home computer. Brings up a ton of security issues, right?
Yeah.
I see Josh shaking his head.
Yeah.
You've experienced some of these security issues, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And even just kind of touching on that again, when COVID had first hit, luckily our organization was already running on Teams. So for us personally, our work didn't change much because we were already kind of adapted to working on this system. So we were able to just basically pick up our computers and go home, and then we were lucky enough to just work as if nothing had really happened besides our location. But we do see that very often as to people, downloading sensitive information. And that's another reason why Microsoft has implemented different types of policies and features on some of their newer licenses to kind of help keep the organization secure and make sure that if you don't have only certain people can have access to these organization files. And Teams is just another great way to make sure that Only the people that are supposed to be looking at that information are the ones looking at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to
Yeah.
touch on that too, I mean, it's literally even talking even just like the baseline level of how you can get Teams, it could literally all be on the web. You go to your internet browser and it's there and it's locked down. And if you've ever seen the pictures of where Microsoft keeps their data center, I would rather host that information there than my closet. It's I'm pretty sure they have bulletproof walls. I think even bomb-proof walls. So pretty serious facility. But to Josh's point, I do remember that day very vividly. I think it was even Friday the 13th, creepily enough. We walked in the office, our senior VP came out and he said, "Hey guys, this is looking kind of weird out there in the world. Let's pack up and go home, and I'll give you a couple hours to make the commute home and see you back online here in a second." So it was a quick turnaround for sure. And just a quick touch on a fun fact as well. We work a lot with Microsoft in the back end as well. And I think even some stats just to throw at that, I believe it was around 36% of organizations from literally not being on Teams, they actually dealt with intense security incidents or security breaches, whatever the case may be, by having some of these transfers happen back and forth without obviously being on Teams ahead of time. So there is a major security risk at play as well here.
Yeah, what we found with some of our clients that just had to do some of this type of physical move, we offered that first week. If you have to work off of a home computer that's not owned by the business, we will provide free antivirus, a free VPN connection, and we'll do a quick scan of your home network, because who knows what your teenager is downloading on that shared computer, and what access do the hackers have into there. And now if that's connected to your work network, that provides a path for hackers to get in. And that was our number one concern, is we got to keep our clients' data safe. And like Josh and Blair said, the Teams environment, it was a non-issue. Everything's up in the cloud and secure.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Are you having problems sharing your Microsoft Word and Excel files due to old versions? This is something that I've seen people run into a lot, just because they're not, rarely updating these things, or if they're not, working with a tech company, they're just like working on Microsoft Word version 2002, So John, what have you seen out there with that?
Yeah, it's going away, but I think the big benefit here is with your team subscription, you get those updated versions of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So there's no interchange with your clients, or your vendors, where they can't print properly, or they can't see the old version, or their latest version isn't compatible. It was more common before the pandemic, I think, but we've seen a lot of internal software and hardware updates with our clients in the last 18 months, just to get past these problems. As people go off site, these little things that they've ignored for a year or two or 5, getting that latest version of Microsoft Office pop up their head. And what it causes is a disruption in their work environment.
I was going to say, I can give a live example as well. I used to actually work in the tech industry, and I see this still to this day. People would always ask you, "Hey, are you a Mac or a PC person?" And frankly, I say yes. And, I'm fine with both of them, because I do know that with Microsoft specifically, they've developed their solution to work on both platforms. So regardless of computer, you have it now for both platforms. So back in the day, some folks, even touching a little bit on the older versions, but even other platforms, talking a little bit to the Mac side, no offense on the Apple side, but just talking to it, they have the, numbers and whatever that other the equivalent of Word is. It's Mac specific. So as soon as you start sharing it out to other people, it just does not work. So by having Microsoft Teams and leveraging a solution like this to be able to be cross-platform, regardless of whatever device you're on, there's going to still be that communication. Now you're not going to have that back and forth communication saying, "Hey, it did not work. I can't open it. Why?" You don't have that anymore. This is all now a centralized platform that everybody has visibility onto.
It's a really good point. I had never thought of, but how it's always Mac to Mac, and it's with PC, it's PC to Mac, PC to PC. And Mac, with the numbers and whatnot, has those restrictions. So yeah, the benefit of the cloud for sure. But
I love my Mac.
yeah, me too.
Don't
And
get
I'm
me
on a
wrong.
Mac right
I
now.
absolutely love my Mac.
Yeah.
But I know all the people I work with, everybody needs to be able to have visibility into what I'm sharing. So it just
Mhm.
makes it a little bit easier to just have that cross-platform that way as well.
Yes, for sure. All right. Oh, I went backwards one. Here we go. How many small businesses have adopted the Microsoft 365 and Teams? So have you guys kind of out in the field, have you seen some resistance in terms of making this switch? People may have this notion that doing that move and that migration over to putting everything into the cloud is going to be like a lengthy process, or they feel like, if we haven't done it yet, like, I don't know if we can do it now. And, what kind of problems have you guys run into with getting people to make that switch? John, I'll
it's mostly a question of how do I do it from our clients, and what do I need to keep all of my old emails and all of my files, and then how do I set my Teams environment up? I've got shared folders in my server and things like that. That's why we bring in the experts at Pax8. I set up an engineering call with these guys, and we talk about the client environment, and we say, we're going to manage this for you. It'll look a little bit different tomorrow, but the transition is smooth and seamless, and we've got your backs with any issues that come up and any reorganization that you want to do. Guys, got any stats on how quickly people are adopting Microsoft Teams?
I got some disgusting stats, very, very strong stats. I'd say just the most important one here, and I'm going to, pardon my reading for verbatim here, I want to make sure I get these numbers right. So just a quick touch on just the history of Teams, just the history of being able to move towards this direction. We have had around 115 million, and that was even, I would even say that's a few months ago. That number's probably gone up quite a bit. It was 115 million daily active users moving over to Teams. This is now, ever since COVID took off, this has been an immediate resource to move towards. Even the CEO over at Microsoft has just boldly stated, like, the modern workplace, this is the direction that the world is going in. Technology has shifted. It is touching about 181 different markets. That is across the world. It's 44 supported languages, again, across the world. This is something that everybody touches. We have people over in the UK, we're here in America. This is cross communication in that manner. We have, in terms of daily meetings, there's about 200 million overall worldly participants, continually rolling day after day after day. It's pure insanity. And then obviously in terms of minutes, billions. I mean, I think it's 4 or 5 billion, minutes being used every day just in the Teams environment. This is, it's insane stats, but it just goes to show that the adoption is happening. Times are changing. People are moving towards a new way to communicate it and to cross collaborate between their ecosystems. And it's fascinating to watch. It really is.
And it really does. Sorry, go ahead, John. I was just going to say, it does really feel like if you're not taking this on, you're kind of being left behind. It's adapt or die, really, when it comes down to this. And you've seen a lot of companies kind of fade out through COVID. And like, if you're trying to stay alive, this is kind of how you have to do it nowadays. It's not really, you don't really have an option anymore. This is kind of just the path that you have to go down if you want to be successful in any field almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Next IT is celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, and we consider ourselves a kind of a small local company, right? We manage a lot of clients in West Michigan out of 3 offices. And I remember before Teams, I would get a call on my desk phone. Hey, did you get that email I sent you? I wanted to talk about this question you had. And today we just look on Teams. Is that person green? That means they're available, or is their status yellow or red? Means they're in the middle of a meeting or a conversation. Everything links into my calendar. I don't have to set anything manually. And they say, I see John's green. I'm just going to place a Teams call out to him. Now I'm talking face to face with my coworkers, and I didn't get a chance to open that email. They just bring that document right up online for me, and we get those questions answered and the decisions made instantly. It's
Nice.
really transformed our remote offices.
Awesome. Awesome info. Go on to the next question. Or I think that was it. And if you guys have anything you want to touch on to wrap up, either more about NextIT or more about Pax8 or the importance of moving on to the cloud, I'll have you guys speak now or forever hold your peace.
I was going to say, John, I got one last stat I just wanted to throw out there. Literally the biggest stat and the biggest number is obviously we've thrown a few of these at everybody here, 30% to 40%, that's about a third of the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, obviously that is Microsoft's marketplace, that is the world. So that's a pretty big number of people, but even more so of all those individuals, almost 90% of them, I think it was about 88%, around, or 88% on a survey worldwide, they've said having all of the solutions in one place ultimately saves time. Time is money. The biggest thing to that is, and I'll verbatim, and I quote, 4 hours per week are saved by just information being all in that central hub. 4 hours per week. That's every single employee. That is an insane statistic. So just to give you an idea of how fast that you can improve your collaboration and how you can improve just the sharing via Teams. If your business is founded on time and being able to bring whatever sale across, the finish line, this is something that's now going to save you time to be able to bring in more opportunities. So just big high level thought on that, but 4 hours is a pretty good chunk of time there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and yeah, time is money. So
It kind of goes to the NextIT tagline, right? We're
yeah,
going to increase productivity with reduced risk.
yeah.
That's a big part of it. I like to use what I call the cake analogy, right? Everybody loves cake. And if you go to a fantastic bakery, this, premier chef will develop a wonderful cake for you to take home. Anybody can have that recipe, but it's the technique and the actual way that the chef puts that together, the execution of that recipe, that it provides success or not. NextIT identified this early on, and that's why we reach out to partners like Pax8, for our Microsoft Teams cloud environment. And, they help us with our security stack as well to keep all our clients, data secure. And the big reason, why we talk to clients and why they come to NextIT is all of these pieces are hard to put together. And this is what we've been doing for the last 20 years. So now we develop you a solution that helps your employees become more productive, and you can rely on us for that security piece as well.
Awesome. Absolutely. And that kind of brings us into that final slide here of, getting an opportunity to work with NextIT and Pax8. So getting a free migration evaluation, you guys can redeem that by messaging John, or we'll be providing in a follow-up email, both of Josh's and Blair's emails as well. So you guys can follow up with them too. And we do have a special offer in there too, in terms of making sure that we knew you guys were on that webinar. So we'll be uploading this also to our YouTube channel afterwards, if you guys want to go ahead and refer back to anything we said in the webinar. And we also want to encourage you guys to go ahead and make sure to look out for our next monthly webinar series. We do this every month towards the end of the month. And we'll always be talking about some new technology and ways you can harness technology for your business to work for you. So without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I want to thank NextIT and Pax8. And, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Have a good one, guys.
No problem. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.